Ladies and gentlemen, Trump has over a 30-point lead against Nikki Haley in her home state of South Carolina. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Like DeSantis, she's essentially already dropped out. She will drop out almost certainly after South Carolina, possibly before South Carolina. I don't see the benefit in losing by 30 points in a state, in your home state where you were governor. I don't understand that. I don't see the benefit here for any future political endeavor. The Republican Party is a populist political party that is against, I should say, Trump is a populist Republican against never-ending wars and military conflict. We would not have the problems we have today with Trump. That doesn't mean he's a pacifist. That means he's against sending Americans to counterinsurgency conflicts all over the globe. Nikki Haley is not. She has the Lincoln Project, Democratic Party, Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld foreign policy. This is the reason, the most important reason I'm voting for Trump, and that I've backed Trump for years and years now, since 2018. The reason is that he is against sending Americans to never-ending military conflict. And his foreign policy, although unique in many respects in the manner he communicates with foreign leaders, works. Trump was the first president to step foot in North Korea. Nikki Haley would never have done that. Neither did George W. Bush or President Obama. Biden wouldn't have done that. Hillary Clinton wouldn't have done that, because the paradigm that they follow is an establishment foreign policy, the same type of military establishment that Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us about. Trump doesn't care about any of that. He's not a lifelong D.C. or Tammany Hall politician or Republican politician. You know, he transformed the Republican Party away from never-ending military conflict. Trump makes deals on the national or foreign, on the global stage. The Doha Agreement was a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, by the way. It was a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. When they blame Trump, when Democrats say, well, it was Biden who brought Americans home, this is complete nonsense. He didn't even want to do that, which is why he waited until the summer and Americans lost their lives, which Americans are losing their lives now because of Biden's foreign policy. You have a country that's been completely decimated in Europe now because of Biden's foreign policy. There could have been a deal. Don't join the alliance in Europe, and then the Kremlin gives something also. You have a deal. It's not difficult. It's not. A lot of these things on the world stage, for example, Democrats still kept the tariffs against China and Trump's tax cuts. They fought tooth and nail against both of those things, yet they still kept them. And Trump's policies towards Beijing were very effective. Suddenly, then Democrats and media and the establishment pushed for a much different type of more conciliatory policy, which we've seen. And we saw his last year in office when they tried to emulate things that were done there over here, and we shut down economic activity. And we're still reeling from that, and we're going to have a terrible, terrible stock market crash, unfortunately. But the populism that Trump stands for is not xenophobic, it's not bigoted, it's not full of divisiveness. What causes friction or a fracture or divisiveness or polarization in American politics is one political side with virtually complete control of a media narrative, fighting tooth and nail and calling Trump everything, every terrible thing possible, accusing him, making absurd leaps of logic against Trump. He tried to foment a rebellion, preventing him from being on the ballot, indicting him for crimes that they would never indict a Democrat for. Simply because Democrats actually did commit crimes doesn't mean you could just simply indict Trump and say, well, that's what he wanted to do to us, so we're going to indict him. It's like, well, there's a difference between bribery and graft and a phone conversation with a foreign leader that Trump got impeached over. Within the transcript of the phone conversation, there's not even one reference to withholding any money. But again, I mean, hit subscribe. If you want to read my writing on the Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist, other publications, go to hagoodman.com. Nikki Haley is the last hope for a Republican Party that will never again represent the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld domestic or foreign policy, okay? Had we listened to Trump, you wouldn't see the human rights catastrophe on the southern geographic region of our country, okay? Democrats are presiding over a catastrophe. They have the House, the Senate, and they have the presidency. We're heading towards a terrible market crash, and I've been talking about that for a couple years now. And it's like, well, the lockdowns, when you shut down economic activity, you virtually guaranteed a market crash, a terrible financial downturn at some point within several, 2, 3, 4 years after that took place. You can't pinpoint it exactly. But shutting down economic activity and printing as much money as possible to replicate an economy, that wasn't Trump's policy. That was the Democratic Party's policy. That was a fabricated consensus of experts. Whenever you hear the word expert, you should simply tune it out, because it's another word it's a euphemism for a very smart person that agrees with Democrats who happens to have an expertise in the topic that they're referring to. Okay? It's not like an expert is weighing in on a Democratic Party or liberal Democrat or conventional or even establishment Republican viewpoint on something, and therefore, since that person is an expert, that's the right avenue to take. What they did and what they usually do is they create a fabricated consensus where they shun and silence anyone that disagrees with the 30 or 40 experts, as if there aren't 30 or 40 experts on another side of a topic that they can say, you know what, this makes no sense from a conservative perspective. They did that with you-know-what. They do that with a lot of things, especially military conflict. But Nikki Haley her campaign is done. She's essentially already dropped out. You could say, what is the point? You want to lose by 30 points in South Carolina, your home state? What is the point of that? How does anybody, if you're a never Trumper, how would you benefit by yet another victory with Trump? Or yet another victory for Trump? How on earth does the Lincoln Project or the Democratic Party or the people backing Nikki Haley benefit by losing in an abysmal manner to Trump yet again? How on earth does it help anyone who doesn't like Trump? I don't get it. The Supreme Court, by the way, within a month or so, will back Trump and completely toss out or reverse that stupid 14th Amendment challenge. He didn't foment a rebellion. It was criminal activity, the same type of criminal activity that unfortunately took place every single day that summer. My God. See, the thing is, you can be passionate. If you are a wonderful, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrat, you could be passionate about 3 people chasing after a young man with a firearm and then say it's the young man's fault. The video does not lie. You can see that the person was protecting himself against 3 people. From the reports, one at least a felon. So you're not going to convince anyone, no matter how apoplectic or emotional or passionate you get. You can say forever that Trump fomented a rebellion because you've seen a million replays of people committing criminal activity. You didn't see, nor do you want to see, the people being led in peacefully into the building. That is not how rebellions take place. But again, Democrats are going to make absurd leaps of logic against Trump, hoping that in this case the Supreme Court will back them. They'll get another loss of the Supreme Court. Every single loss is just momentum for Trump. And he's already up by 4 points nationally. You can look right here. 4 points nationally. So I mean, it's pretty amazing what Trump is able to do. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. He's already won the nomination. Hit subscribe. Thank you. I'll have live streams starting February 1st. I'll really ramp it up with the live streams. I will really ramp it up. I did a bunch this month. I'll do even more this coming month, 10 p.m. Eastern, every single night, starting February 1st, and a whole bunch more uploads and live streams. Thanks.